Welcome, everyone, to Influential Leadership Tips. I'm John Hadley.
And I'm Dave Miller. And John, I thought I'd start with a question that maybe we can kick around a little bit. There's all this talk, if you're kind of junior in the organization, you can still be a leader. And I totally agree with that. Hey, Roxy. And, there's this idea of leading from below. But what does that really mean? What does it mean to lead from below? What do you think?
Well, a lot of times we feel constrained in what we say to our boss, our superiors, and that holds us back from being as effective as we could and from helping them be more effective. Sometimes, in fact, I remember a time where my boss did something difficult. He fired someone, and everyone else had seen this coming for a while. The guy really, he was the CFO and he wasn't performing. And I just went in to Terry and said, I know this had to have been a really difficult thing for you to do. And I just want to tell you that, I appreciate you taking the action. And I think you really did the right thing. He was very surprised. But I think that can really help. Partly, it can help cement a relationship. How often does your boss hear you praising him or her? But also, just having that increases your level of influence with that leader. Giving honest feedback.
Right. And that's a good one. So it's about taking some risk, right? That's one thing.
Yeah, there's vulnerability in that.
And another strategy I think to think about is this idea of becoming a trusted advisor. And what does that mean? Well, a lot of what that means in terms of developing those skills is a lot of things we've talked about before and other tips, but listening more for once, or for one thing, asking questions to really understand, turn conversations into meaningful discussions, and really developing the skills of facilitation and of good consultants. I think a lot of times people think consultants are merely experts that tell you what to do, and that is part of the job, but the best consultants are ones that draw things out from the client, that collaborate with the client. As a junior person, you can be very valuable to your boss and to others, to colleagues and other project teams you're on, by working on those facilitation skills, listening, asking questions.
And asking the sorts of questions that lead to new insights.
Right.
As opposed to just, hey, I know the answer, so I'm going to lead you to the answer I want you to hear, so you hear how smart I am. But asking questions from more of a place of real curiosity and getting someone to think about things a little differently and look at them from different angles is very valuable to that other person and leads to a much better conversation.
Well, the beauty of that too is that by doing that, you don't need to know the answer. You might be in a project team meeting and you're trying to solve a problem together and you don't have a corner on the answer. You might have some ideas and you say, well, shoot, I don't really know here. But do you know what questions to ask? Well, here are some of the questions we might want to kick around, because if we can answer these, maybe we'll get closer to it.
Right.
If you could take that leadership role and facilitate that discussion, there's a way to do it.
And you know what? I think one of the traps that people often fall into is they think that the way to be that trusted advisor to their boss is to always support anything the boss says, basically becoming a yes person, as opposed to becoming the true advisor who's willing to challenge the boss when appropriate and to ask those more leading or deeper questions that lead to new insights, where maybe it changes the direction the boss wants to go on something, because they see things differently after the conversation. That's a person I really value, kind of holds that lens up and helps me see things differently. I may end up going the same direction or the same place, but from a better informed
Yeah, so they can play the devil's advocate role sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's really my tip as homework. Work on those skills, listening and asking questions. Where can you play the facilitator, especially if you don't have an idea or a solution off the top of your head? That's okay. You know, where can you be that person for your boss? Where can you be that person for your colleagues? To really listen to them, to be curious, like you say, let your questions come out of curiosity, have meaningful discussions. And there you can lead from below. So work on that, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
And until then, be influential.